This is the Dog Savant podcast with your host, Brett Endies.
Hello and welcome to the Dog Savant podcast. My name is Brett Endies. I am a professional dog trainer. The purpose of this podcast is to share my dog training experience, my understanding of dog behavior. If you are someone who has a dog with behavioral problems, looking to understand your dog on a deeper level, help train your dog or puppy, and of course, if you're a client and you need to supplement some of the information that we're covering, this podcast is for you. With that all said, if you've listened before, I always get into the business at hand. Please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast, share with your friends, and please let me know how this has helped you. I really enjoy hearing your stories, how you've applied the information from this or other things that I've put out there online, and how it is equated to your dog doing better in the real world. Thank you. All right, so I haven't done a podcast in probably 2, maybe 3 months. I've been busy. It's been hard to get motivated to do this. I've been just working with clients. I think I had mentioned in the past that I had relocated to Colorado for my living situation. That's where I've spent most of my adult life. It's where my daughter lives. And what I do now is I fly into Los Angeles every other week for about 4 or 5 days to work with my clients. And it's been working out pretty good so far. I've been doing it for about 2 months now. It's nice because I can just focus on what I'm doing when I'm out here. I'm actually in Los Angeles as we speak. But then when I go home, I get to enjoy my family, my life. I have a beautiful ranch that I bought up in the mountains. We got a few acres. The dogs are having the time of their life. We get 4 seasons again. And quite frankly, it's just less of a cost of living out there. Here in California, I had to live so far out of the city to be able to own a home and have enough space for the dogs that to get on a plane and fly an hour and 45 minutes a couple times a month is actually easier for me than to be sitting in traffic for the same amount of time daily. So anyway, that's that. If you're a client of mine and you think that I'm living now in Colorado, have no fear. I am out here probably almost as much every month as I'm back there. So keep calling me, keep scheduling. I'm here for you. This is where my business is located, and a lot of my family's here, so this is my second home. I have a place here as well. I keep my car here, and again, it's been working out pretty good. Right now it's early in the morning. I just got an early start, woke up, did my thing, and now I'm just sitting waiting. Tried to beat traffic, so I'm posted out here closer to my clients. Sometimes it's a good strategy, save myself an hour of sitting around, because to go 1 mile, it could take me an hour at a certain time of day, and I got a 9 a.m. for my first lesson here, so figured I'd just beat everything to the punch. All right, enough corny sayings. Let's move on. But I figured today maybe I'd just bring you up to speed, talk on one subject that I do want to cover today, because I've been seeing so much of it lately, and cases that are very severe as well. Dog aggression in the same home. Dogs that fight, dogs that don't get along, integrating them. I'll tell you my own personal story with my girlfriend's dog when she had moved in last year. But nonetheless, we'll get into that in a few minutes, but I still just wanted to just talk about my life here. Someone said, although I'm a little shy about it, every once in a while I'll reveal more about me and my personal affairs other than just the dog behavior information. Someone said, why don't you do that a little bit more? People might like that. People might connect better with you. And through that, they might actually hear the information you're sharing a little better and continue to do that. So why not? Again, I don't know, am I that special where you really want to know about every meal I ate or every stupid little thing I do in my personal life? Probably not. But anyway, at least you know who the guy is who's doing this podcast here. Also, they said you should start revealing a little bit more about who you're working with, because someone, when I kind of, in confidence just told them some of the clients I work with, and they were like, holy shit, dude, you should be telling people this is really impressive and this is really neat, and it's an interesting stories that you can create, tell people here based on just working with these type of people, what it's like, what are they like, and again, I think that although I don't sign NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, it's not anyone's business. I don't know. I mean, I could, allude to who I'm working with, but I think the one name I've dropped, I'll say before, I was the dog trainer for the Musk family, Elon Musk's family. But there's people all on that level that I work with here. It's just common. The funny thing is, I have another client who's that level, the Musk family, and then I had dropped that name just in conversation. And I was just going to tell him, yeah, I know Elon, he's an asshole. So I'm as a dog trainer in the middle of these conversations between billionaires, and now I am a fly on the wall hearing about how one billionaire thinks another billionaire is an asshole. Again, for me to be even privy to that information when I'm just a dog guy, it makes my head swim, right? It's a little overwhelming. I think it's fun. I think it's exciting. Somehow I do have a way of navigating this world here, of these kind of people who live a unique life and are on another level. I connect with them. I can talk to them. I don't know what that is. Maybe in a previous life I was some kind of banker or something, or who knows. But I'm the dog guy. I try to focus on the dogs. To me, every dog is a dog. They don't give a shit who their owner is. And a lot of times people in this position sometimes indulge so much where either they're too busy or they don't want to do something that requires effort, that they don't like to make. They just want to enjoy their dogs and they don't want to actually train them, do the work. And some of these dogs have some severe issues and aren't always the happiest dogs, even though they have the life of luxury. I'll give one example. I won't say his name, but I have a client. This guy, he has a nanny for his dogs. I work exclusively with the nanny. I meet him every once in a while, and he's doing better. He's trying, and I think the dogs are slowly improving. But not only does he have a nanny, he has a personal chef for his dogs. I've seen it with my own eyes. These dogs are eating food way better than I could ever imagine eating daily, okay? Now, granted, the man's probably a billionaire, as are many other, and I think he doesn't have children, so this is his indulgence, which is fine. I'm like this. I would love to come back in another life as one of these dogs. However, if you don't create structure, lead, give your dogs the proper relationship, all the Wagyu beef in the world and all the nannies in the world and all the personal servants and all this stuff means nothing. It just makes the dogs feel too equal to the human condition, and I don't know a dog yet that can keep the lights on in any house. So it really just creates anxiety by giving them too many choices, too much freedom, too much responsibility, and not having to earn it or work for it or create some structure and order in the relationship. All right, so that's my 2 cents. So through my unique experience here working with people that no one in the world, I did this in New York when I started, and then I did it in Colorado for over a decade. We were just normal people. We just work for a living. And I have plenty of clients who work hard, and they're just 9-to-5 people who work, and their dogs, they're part of it. And that's most of my clients. But you will get a lot of people that are on another level, and unfortunately as the dog trainer, or unfortunately for them, I can't come in and say the customer's always right, because otherwise they wouldn't have to call me, and I have to say, we got to make some changes here. Okay, your dog is not fair and good, whether it be your fault, the dog's personality, the history the dog had before you ended up, rescuing it, whatever it is. This is what's going on, and this is what has to be done. And if you can't do it, unfortunately, I have to move on to somebody else. Because with all this said, I am very busy. That's why I have to condense my schedule to these days where I'll see 6 to 8 clients in one day. Yesterday, I worked from 7 a.m. I didn't get done until about 9:30 p.m. Okay, I saw back-to-back clients, and I do about an hour to an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours if it's a new client. Because I want to make every session very intensive and teach as much as I can so the clients have a takeaway that they can practice and bring into the next session if we meet again in the future. And it's a process, rehabilitation, or just a learning process for dogs, puppies to learn skills and improve on what we're teaching them. So nonetheless, I've got some interesting clients. Most of them are doing great work. And at this point, because I am so overbooked constantly, it's not like I want to be selective, but I'm pretty good at discerning, whether it be on a first phone conversation or my first lesson, whether or not the outcome's going to be successful and not worth it for me. Every dog has the potential to be trained, and every dog deserves that. The owners come attached with these dogs. That's why I limit my board and trains, and I make sure that I'm very upfront that they're going to have to continue being consistent when the dog goes home. Because I want to give people value. I don't want to just make, I make more money than I feel I need to make. I'm fortunate, but I also am in a position where I want to give people the best quality service, and that has a lot to do with their ability to be receptive and willingness to make the changes required right from the start. I'm upfront about that, even on the phone in a first email. I'm not going to come in and tell you that everything you're doing is correct, because it's probably going to have to change. Now, nobody's good or bad, right or wrong. It is what it is. Certain dogs require something different to navigate their everyday life, or at least to teach them better ways to do it independent of the training. All right, so moving on, I wanted to just talk a little bit about dog-to-dog aggression. Now, I always talk often about leash reactivity, dogs that have aggression towards other dogs. A lot of dogs, they're fine with dogs they live with, or they don't live with any other dogs in their home. So these issues are relegated to dogs that they meet out in the public space. This is different. This can be a lot deeper rooted. There's a lot more safety issues. There's more stress going on, because these are two family members who at times want to kill each other. Now, it doesn't always get so bad. And I explained how I was going to talk about my situation. So my girlfriend had moved in. She was actually a client, and her dog had some reactivity and worked on it. Was doing pretty good just in general in public. But then we moved in. Her dog would get grumpy. And in most cases, it would just be when I wasn't around. It was protecting her, and all that. A lot of it was just her putting in some work, creating structure, and then we did the integration work. So a lot of people say, well, you're going to talk about dog aggression. How do you do it? You really have to have these dogs only exposed to each other in a calm, structured, well-led way. So it's like two workers coming to work, side by side doing their job, clocking out, leaving, and doing it day by day. And through time, they acclimate. They learn to build duration around each other, space proximity. They learn to interact once that becomes the norm without commands having to help them navigate it. You need the commands to hold their attention and create this order, and humans as the referee/guide to get them through these interactions. So we did that too, but the biggest factor was making some changes in how you have a relationship with each individual dog, and then you do the actual training work to complement it, to do the integration. And that took a few months. Now, my two dogs, they're not best buddies. They coexist. They'll sleep in the same bed. They'll do things side by side. They just aren't going to play. They kind of but they're not reacting to each other. The middle guy doesn't have any personal issues now. It's like, oh boy, in the past we'd have to separate him if we left him alone or we didn't see him. And now it's not an issue, whether it be around me, my girlfriend, or anyone else. And again, that's an easier case because my middle guy never took it as far. He would get grumpy, go, snap a little, but he'd never lay in aggression. And then there's another level. I've been seeing a lot more of these cases. And if you have this level, be safe. I wouldn't leave the dogs alone or chance it because fights tend to escalate until you've worked through the issue. So you keep them separate. I would say big deal. Your dogs are not going to get as much attention as normal. They're probably going to be better off not getting constantly stimulated by being out in the mix all the time. And you give them the walks. You give them the exercise. You alternate them throughout the day so they'll get enough attention. And then together you put in the time and the effort to do the training to actually get it where they're going to be back in your life together one day. Now, you get the next level where dogs, it can be, to the death, where dogs are ending up at the vet. I had a case yesterday morning. It was 2 pit bull mixes. It's a dog, and I'll explain. I'm pretty sure of what's going on here. 2 dogs that were just rambunctious, running wild around the house, no structure in their lives. The owner, good guy, but had his own opinions on how dogs should be trained and raised, which was not working for their situation whatsoever. The dog had tubes in the neck, was ripped apart. Now, this dog is about a month and a half now, and I get a lot of calls where dogs start either, whether it be a reaction issue, other dogs reacting to them, or just behavioral issues ramp up when they're about a year to 2 years. And my best understanding is they're reaching maturity. Things that were a little more puppyish are now having an adult undertone, which means it's more serious, and either to that individual dog or the dogs perceiving them are like, hey, all bets are off. So I'll get like, hey, how come this dog was all fine when they were playing with as a puppy, and now the older dog just laid into them when they hit a year and a half? Well, because that puppy play is now seen as a threat, because play is also a competitive interaction with each other. It's not just this lighthearted game of, parcheesi. It's really, sorry, I make myself giggle sometimes. It's really serious undertone of like sparring, competitive, and although they're domesticated animals, and a well-socialized, balanced dog should never escalate the play. A lot of times when that play is not understood, like I would have, as a puppy, seen this stuff coming a mile away, but unfortunately an owner isn't as experienced in seeing how these things can lead into a bigger problem down the road. And we had to have it, and it really came down to where they had a fight, I believe, and then there was another round of it, and it was 3 in one day where the dog, and I was like, at what point after the first fight did you think it was a good idea to bring them back together? So you got to keep these dogs safe. You've got to be controlled. And you know what? It may sometimes mean that if you can't do the work, one's going to have to go. You got to rehome it. I just feel for these dogs because if you're not going to do the work, who is? These dogs get ending up in the system and they get written off as lost causes, untrainable, and no one wants to put the work in, or they're a breed-specific issue. Oh, it's a pit bull. He's no good because he bit, and then the dogs are gone, or they're living in a shelter or rescue for the rest of their lives. That's horrible. That's why I have no problem making someone say, hey, cut it out. I don't care how you feel about it. It's not helping you or your dogs. Maybe other dogs in the past. That's not these dogs we have in front of us right now. All right. And that is, you have to get serious. And it was upsetting for them. So I even felt bad drilling into the guy. But I was like, you got to hear this. This is not a joke. This is not a joke. And people sometimes think this is silly cute, or they want to love the problems away. You need to get in, you got to know exactly what you're doing. And if it's somebody else's dog, you better give them some straightforward instructions of what they've got to do to fix this. And this could take 6 months, it could take a year, and you got to be willing to commit to that. And that's my point. This is something that is not like, oh, my dog reacts on a leash and within a couple weeks we could have it under control, or my puppy pees and we just need to be consistent with a potty training routine, or work on our building of our commands and the duration and the training skills we want to develop. This is another level. This is life or death. This is going to war stuff, okay? And there's been a lot of this lately I've seen, and I don't know, maybe it's because I'm busier than, and it's just by the numbers, but usually these kind of cases are coming like maybe once a month, every other month. I've got 4 actively and another one this afternoon I'm going to see just with this. 2 dogs in the same home going at it. I don't know. Is it, a lot of these dogs have been rescued. What are the rescues doing? Are they just painting a rosy picture and not rehabilitating these dogs because they're in the whole purely positive mindset where they don't want to address issues or correct the dog and teach them better skills and do the work themselves? I don't know. But it's a big problem going on, and if you have this issue, you should be hiring an experienced trainer who knows what they're doing, a balanced trainer. Don't listen to the rescue telling you this poor dog. These dogs need this pit bull I saw today, and I'm sorry I'm getting a little heated here. This is serious stuff. Was on a harness and lunging, and this is what this guy thinks this is appropriate for a dog these dogs are big, powerful dogs laying into each other, and it's all a joke, fun, and games. I don't understand it. So anyway, I guess this is more than a rant than an instructional thing, but if you've got 2 dogs who are fighting, or a dog that just doesn't get along with other dogs, you need to create a serious, structured, no-nonsense regiment. You compartmentalize their day. It's not about affection. Who cares if they don't sleep on the bed anymore? Take your dog on a walk and make them heal. Give them the exercise. Make sure that they get their steps in so that when they're home, they're going to be in their place and they're not following you around and they're not overreacting or anticipating to every little thing, because dogs that have these issues, it's always part of that as well, the way that they have a relationship with the humans and the conditions they share. And that equates to other dogs having to either, hey, how come if you're not refereeing this dog, I've got to do it? Or how come if you're not creating structure, all dogs are just feeling too much responsibility, and that anxiety creates a mutiny. And what's a mutiny? Animals can see everyday life as an end-all event if they don't put it in perspective, okay? All right, enough said. Anyway, this feels good. I just got another podcast out. It's been a while, as I always promise, which I usually don't deliver. I will try to be regular with this. But anyway, thanks for listening. Don't forget, share, rate, review, subscribe. Let me know. Send me your questions. I like to answer questions. You can contact me, dogtrainingla@gmail.com. My website, dogtrainingla.com, if you're interested in learning more about me or contacting me for my services. Again, thanks so much for listening. Have a great day.